Well, here you are back once again on Night Sounds, Barry and Joe. And who's in our sandwich today? It's Stephanie.
Hi. Nice to see you guys. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, man, it's so nice to have you here on video and audio on Night Sounds. And we met by happenstance because, Joe, you know that I love dogs and I love dog rescue. You know, we work with Carl, the Canine Adoption and Rescue League here in Ventura County.
Yes,
Facts, trying to help out all the pups around the globe, one county at a time. And Stephanie, you have a similar story. Can you tell us about Dr. Jones?
Yes. So Dr. Jones is a dog that I fostered back in July earlier this year. I fostered him for a short period of time. He was actually a gunshot victim that went into Ventura County Animal Shelter as a stray. And he not only had the bullet was still in him, they had to extract it, but also he had a bunch of broken bones on the left side of his face. So when I got him, they had just extracted the bullet, and he still had this huge wound on his jaw that was healing. So I was helping him heal, obviously taking him in, helping him heal, and also trying to find him a permanent home, you know. And I, a few months prior to that, had begun the volunteer process with VCAS. I had gone through the training, signed up, done the application process. And in the training, well, first their website indicates that they're no-kill shelter. They hold themselves out as socially conscious, but then one of the frequently asked questions on the website says, does that mean no kill? And they say yes. And then in the training that I did a few months prior to that as well, you do a 2-hour introductory training where they give you a tour of the facility, et cetera. They also indicated in multiple times that they were a no-kill shelter, and that if a dog that was there had a bite, he would go into quarantine and drew blood. He would go into quarantine for 10 days and then go back to, you know, being available to be adopted. And then they also explained the lengthy process of if they were ever going to euthanize a dog, it had to go through a bunch of steps. And also, you know, a number of individuals had to do the evaluation, et cetera.
Joe, did you know anything about this? I mean, because Joe, you have cats, but did you know about no-kill shelters and stuff?
No, I understand that. What is perplexing to me is you're listing off all of these things, but it sounds like it's not standardized from shelter to shelter, and aren't there like state or federal rules that kind of govern how these places work and operate?
Well, there are to some extent, but it's also very discretionary from shelter to shelter. But like I said, VCAS, Ventura County Animal Shelter, now holds themselves out as a socially conscious. But they do indicate that does mean that they are a no-kill shelter. So that's why I wanted to volunteer there. And then a few months later, I decided to foster a dog. And right before I went to get a dog, they put up a video on their website of a gunshot victim who was named Dr. Jones. The dog's name was Dr. Jones. And so I took him in and I was nursing him back to health, you know, multiple times. The wound on his jaw would open back up. So I would contact them. Even when I was driving him home from the shelter, when I went to pick him up initially, when I was driving him home, it opened up. So I stopped, and for a little while, I realized quickly that I couldn't really help him because he moved around so much. He was so active. So I would literally just grab both sides of his face and just kind of hold his jaws and just talk to him about how I was going to nurse him back to health and we were going to find him this amazing home. And I had to do that repeatedly because, you know, playing, he was a very active dog. So sorry
to interrupt, but what made you decide to go with a dog that had a gunshot wound? Well,
I just felt compelled. I was within a day or two of wanting to go pick up a foster dog, and his video came up, and I just thought, yeah, he's the dog that I need to take care of. And I want badly to nurse him back to health because of the trauma that he has suffered and because he deserves such a good life, right? So I get him home. I'm trying my best to nurse him back to health. He won't even eat by himself. So I have to feed him from, my hands. And he's every single time he's so gentle and so loving, and he shows so much gratitude. And he was so sweet the whole time I had him. He just wanted to be by my side all the time. And then I was meeting with a number of different, during the period that I had him, I was meeting with a number of different potential adopters. I would go to a park and meet them. And several of them were couples that had other dogs. And they would meet, and all the dogs would meet, and there would be no problem at all. But ultimately they didn't choose to adopt him. But then eventually I met another couple, but in the initial email that they sent me, they said that they had a dog that had suffered traumas like Dr. Jones, and their dog was somewhat aggressive. So they wanted, could be reactionary, right? And, that's to be expected with some traumas. So we met up initially, and their dog was pretty aggressive towards Dr. Jones. So then we didn't, meet for a week or so, and then we met again, and the dogs were completely indifferent to each other. But this couple really, really loved Dr. Jones and really wanted him, had a plan, a transition plan. They just really were very interested in him. So they chose to adopt him, knowing that it might be a good fit, it might not be a good fit, right? Mm-hmm. And so they took him, and within a day, it wasn't a good fit. And ultimately, they indicated that Dr. Jones got defensive in their environment, and I think bit a family member of theirs. So they had to return him. Yeah. But again, everybody knew up front that this was just a potential fit, right? Mm-hmm. And so they had no idea what the outcome was going to be. I had no idea what the outcome was going to be, because we were all under the understanding that VCAS was a no-kill shelter. So Dr. Jones went in the 10-day quarantine, and I was monitoring his profile on the website, and I was calling, and I was texting my foster coordinator, telling him exactly what had happened. And the whole time I had him, I'd been texting them about how great a dog he was, but he was, still healing from his wounds. And then I gave them all of the information about what had happened with the adopters and, the situation. And, I kept saying, can I come get him? Let me come take him. Let me come nurse him, continue nursing him back to health. Let me find him another adopter or another home. And the foster indicated no, and then I would call the shelter and see if they would let me, and they indicated no. And so he goes to the 10-day quarantine, and then I, again, monitor his profile, and his profile went off the website, the VCAS website. And so I immediately, when I discovered that, I immediately texted the foster, and I said, I was excited. I was, oh my gosh, did he find a family? Tell me about them. Oh, yeah. I'm so happy for him. Now he's going to be in complete health. Tell me about the family. And within an hour, they texted me back and told me they had killed him.
What?
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. That's the question.
No, wait. Okay, so you put a dog who went through trauma,
who was still suffering,
strange environment with an aggressive dog, so he gets defensive and just bites someone, which is normal dog activity. Sometimes that happens. Doesn't mean a dog is evil or mean or going to murder someone like Cujo. It's not a novel.
Yeah.
Wait, so I don't understand.
It's shocking, isn't it, Joe? Isn't it just blows your mind?
Dog makes one mistake and is murdered?
Yes.
What?
Yes. I mean, and I was absolutely devastated, like leveled, shocked. You read this text and there's no going back from that text, because I, being a lawyer, wanted to advocate on his behalf and just make all of these arguments, but he was gone. There was nothing that I could do. And even more shockingly, the very next day, VCAS text asks me to foster another dog. The very next day, 24 hours later, they said they needed space and they asked me to foster another dog.
A couple questions here. Were you able to see their file internally of the dog after they took it back?
No. Mm-mm.
Huh. I wonder what's in there. Somebody there probably didn't like that dog and said, "Send him right out of here."
Yeah, yeah. And they were the ones that had extracted the bullet. They knew the wounds that he had. And like I said, I was constantly having to monitor him and let them know about him because he had all of those wounds. So I was telling them for weeks what a great dog he was and the temperament, and that he was so grateful, and he did nothing but want to be by my side the whole time.
So,
And
is a dog biting someone like an instant death sentence? I don't understand. I don't understand.
Well, Joe, the other thing,
my mind is breaking right now. I don't understand.
It's a no-kill shelter where this whole
No, I know.
place.
That's why my mind is breaking. Like, couldn't they find someone? You were right there. You were like, I want to pick this dog up.
Yeah. Was there
something in their rules that's like, if you bring a dog back twice, but you wouldn't, because it's a no-kill shelter, right?
Yeah, and I was just fostering him. I didn't adopt him, so it wasn't like that should have been a situation, right? And so to take it a little bit further,
yeah, Stephanie, I would be really, really mad if I were you.
I am. That's why I'm here.
I'm sorry. We're so sorry that happened to you. Yeah,
thank you. I appreciate it. It really was so incredibly heartbreaking because he was a victim from the beginning till the very end. And I thought that I was going to do this great thing and help this amazing dog recover. And like I said, every time he would, open that wound up, I would hold both sides of his face and just talk to him and just tell him, I'm going to nurse you back to health and you're going to find the most amazing family. And he didn't get that. And he deserved it. If any dog deserved it, it was him, because of what he had suffered through, right? I'm just shocked that was his ultimate outcome. Right. So like I said, they texted me on a Friday. They texted me and told me they had killed my dog. And then the next day they asked me to foster another dog, another medium to large size dog, because they needed space. And then the next day after that, a full page ad was taken out in the Ventura County Star by somebody else, making all of these grievances about the Ventura County Animal Shelter that I knew nothing about. I had never heard anything about any of this before, right? And as a result of that full page ad, a board of supervisors meeting was called. And so anybody could come and speak. Also, VCAS got their opportunity to speak. VCAS spoke for an hour and a half. I was given 2 minutes and cut off right after the people that killed my dog got an hour and a half to speak. And to answer your question, Joe, that's exactly what they spoke about at length, was that they would never kill an adoptable dog, and that it has to be a pattern of situations. Exactly.
No. That is the rankest, BS that I have ever heard, because who then gets to decide what an adoptable dog is? Who is the final decider? And that is such crap.
Yeah, I agree.
That makes me so mad.
Yeah, I was very angry at that meeting. And I told them, I said, look, you're giving me 2 minutes and you gave the people that killed my dog an hour and a half. And I told them, I said, if something's not done here, I'm going to let the public know, because one of my main goals here in telling Dr. Jones' story is for all of the fosters and all of the adopters in Ventura County to know his story and to know that this is a potential outcome and to act accordingly. Because had I had the actual knowledge of what could have happened to him, I would have acted differently. And I also asked that of the adopters, and they said they never would have returned him. They would have taken him to a rescue because they really did care for him. They just knew it wasn't the right fit. Right. And had they known there was a possibility that this was going to happen, they would have acted differently too. So I want everybody out there to know Dr. Jones' story so they can act accordingly and not make the decisions that I made, because clearly they were the wrong decisions to make.
Well,
otherwise he would be here.
How would you know, though?
Exactly.
Well, what were
Exactly.
some of those other grievances that you didn't know about that this full page ad made you and all the people reading Ventura Star made them aware of?
Yeah. How
What were
strange that
some
it
of
all
those other
happened.
grievances? Obviously, they're not a no-kill shelter. That's a lie. So
Right.
what else have they been lying to the public about?
Right. So there were a couple of other situations similar to Dr. Jones that had happened earlier that year that evidently had gotten some news, or media attention, but I guess not enough. There were a couple of situations where other individuals had gone to the Board of Supervisors and made those same grievances, but nothing had happened. And then also that article spoke specifically about that Ventura County has a significant amount of money that they're not utilizing to transport dogs to other rescues or to train certain dogs instead of euthanizing them. So it was a number of other circumstances similar to Dr. Jones, as well as the fact that they have a significant amount of money that they're not using.
Wow.
So,
Who spoke for an hour and a half, and what excuses did they give as to why they're not a no-kill?
So it was the director, of the VCAS. And, she basically went into at length again that they would never kill adoptable dogs. And she also spoke about a case that had occurred in LA, and one of the rescues was a Ventura County rescue. But that case actually just subsequent to that Board of Supervisor meeting got overturned in Court of Appeals, where now it benefited the rescues, where basically anytime a rescue requests to pull a dog, the shelter no longer has discretion as to whether the dog can be pulled or not. The shelter can only confirm that it is a valid rescue. And if it is a valid rescue, that rescue gets the dog. So but that Court of Appeal case came down after the Board of Supervisors meeting. So she spoke at length about the LA County case, where basically shelters have discretion and have the ability to do what they want with dogs. And like I said, she also spoke about how they would never euthanize adoptable dogs and healthy dogs, and that they have a specific process and that they stay within a certain number of statutes. And then I came up about 5 minutes later and I said, I really appreciated the hour and a half of statutes and case law, but statutes and case law aren't reality. And let me tell you what reality is. I had a gunshot victim who had a busted face, who I was healing and nursing back to health, and I was finding him a home. And they had all of the information because I was regularly updating them. And they had the information about the adoption scenario, and they killed him anyway. And then the next day, they asked me to foster another dog because they needed space. So,
Use some of that money. Use some of that money and get some more space, Oh my God. I had taken everything in my power to not just curse up a storm right now.
Do it.
Off the radio for good. This is just an infuriating situation.
Yeah.
Oh.
So you went to the city council meeting. You had your minute and a half, basically.
Yes, and I was cut off in 2 minutes, basically.
And then what? What happened after that?
Nothing has happened. And I actually asked at the very end of my 2 minutes, right as they were cutting me off, I said, I want a formal investigation. I am requesting a formal investigation, and absolutely nothing has happened from VCAS's side or from the Board of Supervisors. But prior to the Board of Supervisors meeting, I had decided, obviously I was still very emotional because this was in a month or so of everything happening with Dr. Jones. But I also acknowledge that all shelters and all rescues are busting at the seams right now, and they're all overcrowded. So I had decided that I wanted to go in solution oriented, saying, hey, this is what happened, but I also realized that everybody's overburdened here, right? So I started coming up with solutions, potential solutions. And while I was in Orange County as in-house counsel, I was also pro bono coordinator for about 8 or 10 years in Orange County. And so I worked with a bunch of nonprofits for low-income housing and homeless shelters, trying to combine healthcare services, because I was in-house for a healthcare company, healthcare services with housing facilities. And I've worked on a number of other homelessness initiatives. So I just started calling all of those contacts, basically, and I said, hey, here's our issue. Obviously, it's a result of COVID and a number of other things, inflation and low-income houses. So can we combine the low-income housing facilities that we're building and this issue with the rescues and potentially create adoption opportunities, adoption clinics with a frequency, right? Where these clinics could, these rescues could have mobile clinics or adoption clinics, maybe on a monthly basis or quarterly basis or something similar to that in low-income facilities or other types of facilities. Active living, meaning 55 and older, or senior facilities could take certain types of dogs, or even treatment facilities, residential treatment facilities, potentially prisons as well. So I started those discussions with a number of nonprofits as well as the rescues and a couple of training entities. And the training entities are very helpful because they not only want to be involved with training the dogs to live in these facilities, but they also would love the opportunity to train the individuals and the residents that live in these facilities in case they want to use this as a career in the future. So, right, we've just come up with a number of different potential opportunities that can ease the burdens of these rescues, who then in turn can ease the burdens of the shelters, especially if they're kill shelters, right? So that's where we are right now, is we're in preliminary discussions with a number of different rescues, low-income facilities, hopefully the California Association of Affordable Housing as well. And so we can, spread this throughout the whole state if this is a potential to address this particular issue that is a major issue right now, because all rescues and all shelters are full.
Now, one question I do have, because you do bring up, low income residents, and I understand the social benefits of having pets, and I totally advocate for it. I love my cats, and if we had a yard or a bigger space, dog would be a part of our family as well. So I would totally be into it.
Yeah.
But one thing that pet ownership comes with is financial responsibility. Right. A lot of low income people probably bypass adopting a pet because it is an expense, and they're already scraping by. How would your program help to facilitate those adoptions and keep those people able to care for that pet that they have adopted?
Right. So that's an excellent question, and I'm glad you asked it. It's actually a question to be asked by anybody that even has a pet now, because I think a lot of people don't realize that if you have a pet now and you don't have the ability to pay for certain things, you can go to the rescues, you can go to the shelters, and many of them will assist you with the things that you need to be able to keep and maintain your dog instead of having to relinquish it. Right?
Oh, for real?
So many rescues have all of these opportunities and programs that people don't know, which is another part of this program or movement that we're trying to create, to educate people that you do not necessarily have to get rid of your animal if you don't have the ability to pay for certain things.
So all those sad TikToks of the dogs with the notes around their necks saying, my owner loves me, but please take me in because he can't afford me anymore. That doesn't need to happen. People don't.
It does not need to happen. It does not need to happen.
Oh my gosh. How do we got to get, we got to get the word out about that, because
that's what Stephanie's doing there.
It is heartbreaking to have to give up your pet because you think you can't afford it.
Exactly. And so also there's that, just to sort of begin to answer your question. And then there's also programs that certain manufacturers of dog food have. Like, I don't know if you've seen any of the commercials by Purina, where they actually have a program where they assist domestic violence victims to get into their own housing with their animals.
Wow.
Because they're an animal food manufacturer. Yeah. Yeah. They have a whole website for that. And then there's other types of, dog food manufacturers and companies and toy manufacturing companies that will assist these types of housing facilities for the individuals that obviously can't afford it, right? And then there's also programs that people can apply to potentially receive grants for veterinary services if they can't afford the veterinary services. So there's all kinds of assistance out there. It's just people need to be educated and made aware of those for people that already have animals. But then those programs can be utilized for these types of facilities and these types of partnerships if the rescues are going to partner with low-income housing or homeless shelters or treatment facilities, different facilities like that, where that assistance might actually be needed, right? There's all kinds of programs out there that can assist that, and it won't be a problem at all. All of these entities just have to come together for a partnership, and then these adoption opportunities can happen in frequency.
That sounds awesome.
And that's what we're working to create.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. Wow.
Yeah. So what can those of us listening and Joe and myself do? How can we help you?
Oh, wow. That's an excellent question. Well, I actually just created an Instagram for Dr. Jones. It's called the username's Dr. Jones Effect. Dr. Jones Effect is what it is.
Oh, man, you totally missed out on the opportunity of, you call him Dr. Jones. You call him Dr. Jones. Anyway,
so what should I rename it? I just created it.
Yes. No. If you can claim you call him Dr. Jones, it would be a smash hit. All the Indiana Jones fans would love it.
Call him Dr. Jones. That's what I need to try to get.
You call him Dr. Jones.
That's it. Okay, that's what I just created.
You call him Dr. Jones. It's what Short Round says to Steven Spielberg's wife in the Temple of Doom.
Okay.
Stephanie, how did you not know about the Dr. Jones stuff? And
I know, I just didn't.
Hey, lady, you call him Dr. Jones. Anyway,
maybe Joe, maybe she liked the soda bottle, the Dr. Jones soda. Isn't that called Dr. Jones? Maybe that's just...
honestly, I know this is ridiculous, but honestly, I thought, previously the house he had was probably a little kid, and it was like the kid's doctor's name, and the kid named him after his doctor. I had no idea. And then my sister's no, that's Indiana Jones.
That's Indiana Jones.
So, oops, my bad. I missed it.
Well, you still have the opportunity. Like you said, you just started. And
I did. So I'll see if I can get that. For sure. But yeah, and then obviously the Carl .org, I think is their website that they're assisting.
Carldogs.org. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah, carldogs.org. And AFLAR is as well. AFLAR is another rescue in Ventura County that I've been in discussions with. These are preliminary discussions. Mm-hmm. And the Canine University is one of in Thousand Oaks is one of the training entities that was again, they were really interested in not only training the dogs, but also training individuals in case they wanted to become trainers, which is just amazing, right? Yeah. Just creating benefits in multiple different ways. So we're just beginning this, but I really hope that this is going to be as impactful as I can possibly make it, because like I said, what happened with Dr. Jones was so wrong on so many levels for him, and also absolutely devastating for me, right. Absolutely devastating. So, and unexpected and shocking. That is truly the last thing I would have expected, because had I known, I would have been in the office advocating on his behalf, like in person with those people. But I had no idea that was even a possibility that was going to occur. No idea at all. And like I said,
we got to get the word out so it doesn't happen again.
Exactly. So, yeah.
Well, thanks for coming on, Stephanie, telling us your story. I'm sorry it doesn't have a happy ending, but
Oh, hopefully it will for many, 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 many other dogs.
Yes.
Well, can you come on again and keep us posted as to how this
Oh, yeah,
goes?
that'd be great.
Like anytime you have news, you're more than welcome to come on here and break it.
Yes, please. I'm so grateful for you guys having me on and let me tell this story. I'm very, very, very appreciative. So anytime I have an update, I would love to come back, and we would love your assistance too.
We're there for you.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. This is Night Sounds.
Thank you. Bye.